And that's not saying I think Chris Duarte is the answer at the shooting guard position. I don't think so. I mean, I don't think Chris Duarte is starting on a championship level team. He maybe in a year or two. I mean, it's only his third year in the league. He showed a lot of promise as a rookie. I don't know if the Kings want to bank on that, but I think the Kings just really need that like a good example, because it's easy to relate to, is that Doug Christie. They have the offense. They have Fox. They have Sabonis, and Fox and Sabonis are good defenders. Murray and Barnes. Murray has shown that he can be a great defender, but he's also, I think, inconsistent at times. Same with Barnes. I think they just need in that starting lineup is that defensive oriented guy, and like I'm willing to sacrifice some offense to get some defense. And I think you were saying, with if Duarte doesn't work out, you got to want Toscano Anderson. Like, for sure, you need defense at this point. And I mean, I don't know. I want Toscano Anderson's definitely not the answer either. But if they can try to find someone in the trade market where they can, I mean, I always say it. They just need a 3-and-D guy. It may be more of a D than a 3 guy for the shooting guard position. And like we talked about last week, that 2 through 4 position seems so. I want him to be very interchangeable. So he's kind of the 2 I'm talking, but can guard the 3, can guard the 4 if needed. Just a long guy, athletic. I think that's what they're really missing.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of belief in Duarte because I think Katie Christensen mentioned this on the broadcast last night, where it's like, you have to remember that Duarte, especially in his rookie season, he was a really, really good offensive player. I mean, he's got the ability to score, he's got the ability to play make, and he's got the ability to hit open threes. I mean, like, ever since he got traded to Sacramento, he said that he wanted to embrace whatever role they gave him. So he's really gone all in on defense. And Mike Brown believes, I think he said this before the Hornets game, that Duarte can be that defensive presence that we didn't really see it against Orlando, but he can be that defensive presence and still provide the offense. I mean, Mike Brown said, it doesn't really matter what combination of players we put out there, we can score. I mean, that's the common trend here. Mm-hmm. And we've seen Duarte, I think, over his last 10 three-point attempts, hit 4. He's had a couple of nice plays. I think he had a 4-assist game against Charlotte. I think it's there. I think Duarte can figure this thing out and really hold down that spot. It's not necessarily for certain, but A, I think he gives you a better chance than Herter, and mm-hmm. 2, I think he can get a lot better at what he's doing. And another thing that's interesting, too, when you talk about the offense and all this stuff, Mike Brown made a great point. Fox is a great defender, but Fox is also your leading scorer. One of the things that Duarte provided against the Hawks and the Grizzlies was that Fox didn't have to guard Morant or Trae Young. Duarte could do that. And you've kind of seen like Keegan Murray do that kind of stuff too. But now you're maximizing the amount of guys that can defensively hold down tough assignments while freeing up Fox from having to work so hard on both ends. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Like in my opinion, it's like, okay, things kind of feel like they can go in a really good direction with Duarte. It'll be interesting to see how Duarte bounces back. To see if he can get back on that track of what he was doing in most of that Atlanta game, throughout the Memphis game, even in that Charlotte game. I think it's there. I think he can be a really, really good piece to this team.
I think so too. He can. It's just, are like, how long are you gonna wait?
True. I mean, just getting my sense from Brown, it's just like Brown sounds like he has a ton of confidence in him, just from what he said pregame in the Hornets game. It's interesting because he did really revert back to some bad trends in that Orlando game, but that's one game. Let's see what he can do. But the time frame of where he can do that is a big question, because it could be a couple months before he's consistently doing what he needs to be doing, and that might not be enough.
And I'm not even saying like this year. Like this year, like Duarte, I think should be. I mean, unless he really falls off and Herter somehow finds his way back. Like, I'm not even just talking about time frame this year. It's next year too, because like next year the championship expectations really, they heighten. And if Duarte's still just kind of a good player, but maybe just not good enough, it's like, when is it time to move on? If you can grab someone at the trade deadline this year or in the offseason, do you just move on from Duarte too, if you think he could be a better player?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's also
it
far
is.
out
It's
there.
it's so
it's hard to
vague.
say, but it's a fair point though. I mean,
I just haven't seen that from Duarte. He hasn't convinced me where it's like, all right, this dude's the future. And I get it. He has that potential. Brown has a lot of faith. But, I mean, the Kings are going to get very close to win now in a year or two. And that's still a long time, but I have trouble really imagining Duarte being that starting shooting guard for the long run. But who knows? Maybe
right,
he'll prove me yeah, he can prove me differently. He's only in his third year. He was great his rookie year. And it's great that he wants to be that defensive guy here. I guess we'll just have to see. I still need to be a little convinced. But hey, he's looked good so far. He's looked better than Herter. I've liked what I've seen, for sure.